Good evening, everybody. Welcome to SVA Online and this evening's Coach Connections. Um, Again, another great presenter coming on this evening, a good friend of mine from Brazil, Celso Assumpcao. He is a very experienced coach. He's had a 44-year coaching career as a professional coach. And then we're going to get him on and we're going to discuss his career and what his specialism is around developing camps for performance. So he's done this in many different countries. Most recently, he's done one in Italy. So we're going to get him on and we're going to discuss what we're finding out. There is a little bit of a lag with him, so we're just going to bear in mind. And also, we're just going to have to take the language a wee bit slower tonight. There is a little bit of a lag and a bit of translation involved. So without further ado, let's get tonight's coaching connections underway. And can I welcome to the screen Celso. Hi, Celso.
Hi. I'm very pleased to be with you in this live in the Scottish Volleyball Federation, and I hope we can exchange many ideas and many experience.
Excellent. So we've met long ago. We spent a fair amount of summers coaching together. So I know you very well, but for our viewers, you're new to Scotland. You're new as a coach. So tell us a little bit about yourself and your involvement in volleyball.
Well, I started volleyball very young, when I was 12, as a young player in São Paulo, where I was born. And I played at least 25 years, all the categories, under 12, under 14, 16, 18, juniors, and also in adults. So my life as a player stopped when I started coaching. And some years I coach and play, but just a few years. And after I dedicate really to be a volleyball coach.
Brilliant. The CV that you sent me, you've coached all over the world.
Well, I had a lot of opportunities, and I have the opportunity to play and coach in different countries. And I think that this volleyball experience is one of the reasons I am talking to you now, because we met the first time in New York.
Yep.
So, and we met in New York a lot of another coach in different countries. And that's a very, very nice experience. And now today I can say in Scotland I have a lot of friends, because I know most of these people in the same place, different years, but in the same place.
Yeah.
And this like this, I can see people in France, I see in Italy, in Canada, in all South America. And this make it possible to me travel with my team and also receive some invitations to be coaching in other countries, like Saudi Arabia. I was there for 3 years. I was in France for 9 years. Some countries in South America too. In Chile, I was there 3 or 4 times, Peru, Argentina, and all this because the volleyball. Right? I never be playing in Scotland, even with my team, because we tried 2 times go to Perth tournament. Is it Perth?
Yeah, that's the tournament,
right? But I don't know why. One problem, another problem, we didn't go. But one time, who knows? Next year, maybe.
Yeah, who knows? So,
But now I am living in Scotland.
yeah. In your CV, Celso, you said that you've coached pretty much every level. You've coached boys, you've coached girls, you've coached men, you've coached women, and at various levels, juniors right through to professional athletes. That's a lot of experience to acquire. What was
Well,
what's your prefer? What do you prefer? Do you prefer women, junior girls? Do you prefer the male side of the game? What's your preference when coaching?
well, when you start coaching, you probably will not start coaching a professional team. Your first job will be with the kids, will be in the formation. And after you are going, making more experience, and you're going up, and you can be a professional coach in the professional teams. Of course, coach men and women are a little bit different when you talk to them, when the way you talk, the way you can make things. But actually, I prefer uh, coach my kids, young kids in the formation, because I am almost in the end of the career, so we return to the first years, you know. I don't think, for example, today, to take a professional team, I will need some one more. Let's say I will need some preparation for it. Okay, the time when I coach professionally, the team's professional was not the same that they use today. Even if the practice don't change very much, but the way to prepare the match, the way you prepare the practice are a little bit different because you have much more. How can I say? Much more things. The internet. You have easier films. You have a lot of stats, and it makes things a little easy or a little difficult. Depends if you read well, if you understand well.
Yeah.
So that's a very important thing because many coaches they have a lot of information, but if you don't process well, doesn't make many difference, a little difference. Okay.
Yeah.
And the past years, I was more in the office than in the court. I like much more to be in the court, but I take presidents of the state federation here in Pernambuco state, and takes much more time preparing things, making contracts, make a lot of things, and I didn't practice too much. But this year, I will definitely come back to the courts where I feel better.
So there you touched on the fact that you're the state president for your area. How does club volleyball? How does the volleyball look like in your area? And what's the pathway picture in Brazil for people who don't know?
Okay. In Brazil, we have the season, the championships are not like in Europe. The country is very big, and the level are very different. Depends of the region. Okay. In my area, most of the formation is in the schools. Okay. Most when you start playing volleyball, you start playing the school for sure, and after the players the more skilled goes to the clubs. In the south area, we have more clubs. They also play in the school, but we have more clubs. In Brazil, we have the state national championship, the state teams. Each state, we had 27 states. Each state has a state team. Okay, players from many clubs. For example, you can have a Glasgow team. Is all the teams of Glasgow, they have the players, and one make the selection and plays with Glasgow teams, almost like this.
Yep.
So we have first, second, and third division. The first and the second with 10 teams, and the third with 7 teams. And each year, 3 goes up and 3 goes down. Okay, but this is the state championship. So the federation takes care of this team. All the championships called the Brazilian Selection Championship. It's the name, the nationals. We used to play all the championships, first and second division together in the same place at the same time. Is in the Brazilian Development Center, is in Rio de Janeiro, where the national teams, the professional that go to Olympics, to the World Games, they practice there. And in March, this center is for the national championships. And so all we have 20 teams playing at the same time. So the coach of the national team can see all these players and make the selection for the national team.
Wow.
Also, we have the state championship. It means each state, each area make his own championship, but there is no division. There's one division only. Maybe in São Paulo and maybe 2 or 3 states they have divisions, but most of the states they don't have divisions. They play all in the same division. And we have the Liga, the Superliga, the Super League. Super League is A, B, and C. A, B, and C. A, 12 teams, B, 12 teams, and C in the Superliga C can be how many make the inscription can play. But only 3 goes to the Superliga B.
Okay.
But the Superliga C is regional. They make different pools, and because it's a lot of teams, so they make different pools and you qualify in each pool. And at the end, 3 goes to the Liga B. So this is the professional leagues, okay? And the professional teams in Superliga A is the teams who most of the players are in the national team and the foreigner players. We have a lot of foreigner players now. But this year there is no champion because the virus, the championship stopped before the playoff. So they decided for the next year they don't have a champion. Okay, so because they couldn't make the playoffs.
Yeah,
we were until now we don't know if there is some team that is going down or we don't know yet, because from March we cannot do any meeting in the National Federation. So they are discussing that and waiting for the government to make authorization for reopen. Football starts to play this week. Not all the states, but some states this week. Some will play next week. But indoor sports are still forbidden at this time.
Okay. We're in the exact same sort of phase at the moment. How has that impacted your sort of regional clubs, and what's the feeling about the virus and what adaptations are going to be for coming back?
Well, the federation.
Oh, Celso, you've muted again.
Oh my God! In my state federation, we create a protocol. We can say protocol.
Yeah.
Yes, for this, and we send it to we send it to the nationals, and they are making a national protocol. But this is only the orientation, because here each state, the governor can make the rules for his state. So we are waiting for that. This week, Recife opens the parks and open the beach, but still forbidden to play collective sports, only for running, some beach for surfing, but for the gym, we're still waiting for. One thing that I think that we are going to do is each club will have a COVID manager, a person responsible to check if the people playing in the practice, in the game, they are following the instructions, okay?
Yeah.
And follow the things, the rules. But it's not yet, we didn't make it yet. We are just studying. For the probably July, we will be okay to start.
Okay. We've just issued some guidance as well, and again, our clubs are getting a similar message. So it's good to hear that the virus, as much as it's a worrying thing, we're tackling the problem in a similar fashion, similar vein. So that's good to hear. So let's talk about your France for 9 years.
Excuse me, I didn't understand.
You were in France for 9 years. Was that in Lille?
You were in France for 9 years. Was that in Lille?
My first year, it was in Orleans. Orleans is in the center of France. I stayed there 1 year, and in the next year, it was the first year I went to the camp in Huguenot. I moved to Lille. It's closest to England and to Scotland, in the north, and there I stayed there for first 4 years. So I come back to Brazil, and after another 5 years.
All right.
For the same, not the same club, but the same area.
Same area. We used to use crepes in Lille for It's a nice place. It's a nice place. So let's turn our attention to how we met. And it's one of the reasons that I put you on tonight. The World Training Centre in Huguenot. It was a really amazing camp. Like you said, you had the opportunity to work with so many different coaches. You're pretty much a specialist at these things, at developing camps. So let's dig into that. How important do you think that are?
Well, Huguenot, it's a special place because they have very, very, very nice facilities. It was very big. It was very, how can I say it, isolated. We don't have contact with anyone outside. And we have really very, very, very nice conditions, a very, very nice gym. We have a fitness room. We have nice outside courts. We have nice dorms. So, and there was one of the most difficult camps because it was about 8 to 10 hours practice for a day, and it's a little too much, especially for American kids that was not habituated to do it. But you remember, we have also a select group. The athletes, a little special athletes that stay there for 5 weeks. But they looked at like an investment to try to find a place in the university. It's one of the reason the camp was always full, and they always bring different coaches for different nationalities. And the kids can learn about this coach, and the coach can learn about each other, different experience. But for the mental was difficult, I think. Mental was very difficult. And we have to, how can I say that, control different personalities, individual personalities. And this was one of the most important part of the job. And we mix too much experienced coach and young coach, so the young coach could also learn. And I think it was a very, very interesting camp. In Italy, the camp is a little bit different because they mix much more volleyball practice, develop volleyball skills, but you have outside court environment too. It's a hotel, you have a swimming pool, you have some parts at night, but also for the kids is about 5 to 6 hours practice per day, not every day. Okay, there is a program, but the 3 first days, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesdays, for more practice. After we have one day, a little bit making tournaments, a little more fun, and a special a tournament as we did in Huguenot in the last days. So I went also a camp in Alaska. It was also a different camp because Alaska is everything is different. So it's 1 week. I stayed there 15 days without see the night. It means it was day all the time, and it was a day camp. So the kids arrive in the morning and they go back in the afternoon. Okay, after the practice of the afternoon. And that's a very big difference between an overnight camp and a day camp. Because for the staff in the overnight camp, you work 24 hours. Because even when you are going to sleep, you are working, because if there's some noise, there's some problem, one kid is sick, you have to do something. And in the day camp is a little bit different. It's a little bit easier for the staff.
Okay. We've got a question, Celso, from John, who is he's one of our national coaches, and he's asking when you're working with your youngsters in the camp environment, is it technique, movement, or is it enjoyment through the game that you're looking to try and develop? So there was 3 areas: is it technique, movement, or just enjoyment through the game when you're working with young?
Well, the basic difference when you are coaching the camp and when you are coaching your club or your school or your university is, in the camp we go to develop individual skills, even if we play together. But the objective is not to build a team, but to develop skills in the kids. That's why we have, how can I say that, one of the important things in the camp is there's not too much difference. You give opportunities for all the kids. All the kids have opportunity, and we try all the time making them have different opportunities, play in different positions, for example. But we never forget to teach them the technique. Okay? Of course, if it's a Scotch coach, the special techniques, they like the hands position this way, or the attack approach this way. There is another that don't make the same, and the kids had different experience, and they can find what's better for them. Because sometimes you go to your team and you make all the players in attack approach, for example, they make left, right, left. That's universal, right?
Yeah.
But some of them, maybe they will be better making right, left, right. So in the camp, they have the opportunity to test everything, because they go through practice for different coaches from different experience, different styles, and different ways to coach. There is a coach that's talking too much, keep talking all the time, the other talking a little less, make more demonstrations. That's what's very, very, very important, making demonstrations. And what I like too much is when you are making demonstration, and that's for me, that's my opinion, right? That's my opinion. The coach use to show the kids what they are doing wrong. And in my opinion, you should not do that, because the kids are looking for a wrong movement. They are watching you doing a wrong movement. So when you are going to demonstrate, you have to demonstrate always the right way, the way you like it. So they always can fix the movement in the right technique. Okay, and that's something that I saw many coaches doing. Oh, you are doing arm swing, you are crossing your legs, and they show them this, and this is not positive for the kids, in my opinion.
Yep. You sent me a document, and there was a lot of sort of philosophy in that document, in and around developing camp philosophy. So we've touched on a little bit like the individual aspect where you're coaching the player, and not for example like a team you're building towards maybe a fun tournament at the end, but the focus is purely on each individual. What sort of things are you looking for when you're directing a camp from the staff in terms of engagement with that philosophy?
Well, what I used to do, especially for young coaches, is this is very important. In the clubs, this doesn't happen a lot, but sometimes. It's normally that in the second day you are tired, and you, for example, you used to be just close to the pool and stay there and you talk, and this is very negative for the kids. That's why we put in our handbook, get out of the parking zone, because the coach never has to be in the parking zone. They have to move all the time, because you have a court with 15, 20 kids, and walking around, talking each other. That's the way you can really coach them all the time. It's very, can I say, you makes you tired, but it's very important for the kids. And we are there because the kids, okay? And show them the positive situation is very important. That's why in the group you have always 2, 3, or 4 coaches. So when you one start, another one make it, and this like this. And the one thing very important is a coaching motto. The coaching motto is I hear and I forget, I see and I remember, and I do, I understand. It means the kids must do the exercise, must touch the ball. They can hear, yes, but they will learn when they touch the ball. Of course, if I toss the ball all the time as a coach, I will toss every time, very nice tossing. But the kids are not learning this way. Okay? They will learn when they toss. because they feel the difficulty, they feel the different experience, and that's what happens in the game. Okay, for example, when one coach for practicing attack, he toss all the time. All the tossing will be very nice, setting will be very nice. In the game, it's not like this. The balls come one time high, one time is a little short, one time is long, outside the net. And in the practice, they have to have this situation.
Yeah.
So they learn much more. Okay. When I start playing, we just touch the ball. The coach touched the ball 100 times, and we touched the ball 10 times. Today, I think it's different. Should be different. The coach touched the ball 10 times, and the kids touch the ball 100 times. Even if they don't touch very well, this is not the problem. It's not the problem, because with the practice they are making better. Okay, so these are some very, very little tips, but important tips. If we remember about that, we can really teach the kids, because sometimes the coach teaching, he's not feeling that the kids are not learning. You have to feel the kids are learning.
So John's come back with a follow-up question. It says, is the building of relationships with the children the most important aspect in a camp? So building that relationship with the kids that are in your court, is that an important aspect of the development of the camp?
Exactly. This is very, very, very important, because when you go to the camp, maybe you are going with one or two friends of your team or club team, but we are going to find there 80, 90 different people.
Yeah.
So you have the opportunity to talk, to see what how they socialize, and there is in the camp we use the nights especially for doing very, very nice programs, works for developing the relationship. For example, we have different kids from 10 to 18 years, okay? And they have we call that the teen group. We will have the people with the same age or close. But we have the outside group. Outside group, you mix kids from 8, 9, 10 years with kids with 17, 16 years, and they make a group. And they will have some, how can I say that, some exams like karaoke, like paint, make a spot video, and they make it together by group and so each other. It's a very important objective of the camp too.
Okay.
And no cell phone.
Okay.
No cell phones.
No cell phone.
No cell phones.
No.
Wow.
Forbidden the cell phone for 1 week.
There's a lot of kids at our country that would suffer badly. Okay, so another question. In your years of creating your camp, Celso. We're going with Veronica's. How does the preparation of your coaches work? You have many coaches from different backgrounds and probably with different opinions as well. How do you work prior to the camp to prepare the sessions? How does the coordination of the camp work?
Well, of course, the camp have a main line. Okay, the camp we have two directors. We have the director of the camp, of course, and you have also the technical director. You remember when he was in Huguenot, he was a Japanese, the technical director. And after, I think, was half once, maybe. Who else? Well, this guy, he is the responsible to guide the main lines to the coaches, because as I told you, there's many different nationalities, and you have to some main lines. Of course, if you have the group 1, you cannot do the same practice of the group 10, but the objective has to be the same. Okay? In the United States, we make a first practice to see the level of the kids. We try to divide by level. In Italy too, in Canada too. And there is many how you guide the camp. For example, in Canada was a day camp, so we have 1 hour practice. It was about 8 courts, and you have 1 hour. 1 hour, and they make 1 hour. For example, the objective will be overhand pass. The second hour, and you make a rotation. The groups make the rotation, not the coach. The coach don't have a group. You understand?
Yeah.
So the same coach make for all the groups the same objective. For example, you have attack. You are going to do attack with all camp, but 1 hour like this. They rotate. This is a kind of guideline, and of course everyday meetings. And normally the technical director or the most experienced coach, they are flying a little bit during the day, and they can see some people doing very nice things. Also, you can see people doing very bad things. And the objective also for the coach is to learn, because when you take a guy, it's the first time he's coming for the camp, he cannot know everything. He can know something. So he had to understand how the thing's going. And, well, this is the way. We make the guidelines and the objective, and we try to do the same work in different ways. Okay? Different ways. Because you are going to the camp, for example, in the United States, you are going to make a practice in English, but you are not habituated to speak in English. You have to learn first the keywords in English to make your practice, right? It's the same. You are English, you are going to Italy, you have to understand some, you are not going to speak Italian, but you need to understand some words, and it will be easy for make the practice. But the meetings are very important, and also you can, for example, exchange experience. For example, Andy is doing a very nice practice of with the setter that I never saw it. So during the meeting, he can explain that, and this make a very nice experience for the coach.
Okay, so the questions are now starting to flood in, Celso. We've got a question here, and it's from Blue Sports. Say, so when children are learning in Brazil, do they play both sand and indoors, or are they encouraged to stick with one discipline?
Well, we have some programs for the beach volleyball. We have a lot of people playing beach volleyball, but in Brazil, just a few capitals are beaches. Okay, the countryside they don't have, and even for example, in my town, we have the beach all the time, but the kids playing more inside, indoor. After some of them, they start playing in the beach, because we have school championship for the sand and for indoors. But normally, they play both. And when they are 17, 18, they choose what they are going to do.
Yeah. Martin's got a question. He sent me on my phone here. Let me just pull this one up for you just now. So in terms of developing the camp, how long do you spend in the planning phase to put a camp together? Typically, how long do you spend in that phase?
Well, you mean in time?
Time, weeks, months, years, maybe.
Well, look, the camp. I give you an example. In Italy, the camp this year it has 30 years, 30 years. Okay. In this 30 years, they don't change too much. To change something in the camp is very difficult because when you are going to change, especially the program, is difficult because you are going to change for 90 kids, and if it makes wrong, you make something wrong, it's a big problem. Okay.
Yeah.
Normally they don't change. It's the same program, of course, not exactly the same program, but the program is almost the same. And of course, this year they will have a lot of different things to do because they provide the virus. But it's a hard preparation, especially for the paperwork. It's very hard. During all the year, they prepare the camp because the camp is not only the volleyball practice. The camp is a lot of things. Security, is insurance, food for everybody, the menu for everyone. You have kids that have a problem with vegetarian. They are vegetarian. The other, they don't eat sugar. They have special medication. For us, the coach that we are going to spend more time in the court, it's fine. We just arrive, we start practicing, that's fine. But the guys who work in the preparation for the camp, they prepare the camp all the year preparing the camp. Checking the gym, checking if the hospital can receive people if there is an accident, checking how you are going to there's a problem in the hotel, what you are going to do. It's outside the courts, a lot of work.
Okay. We've got another question. This is from Ali, our senior men's national team. He's saying, how much information do you share with the players on the purpose of the camp? Any bio, psycho, or social examples? So how much information do you share with campers about the camp? Now, bear in mind that some of the campers can be just beginners, some are intermediate, and some are very advanced. So how much information do we give them, or do you give them when you're preparing the camp?
Let me give you two examples, different examples. When we was in Huguenot, you remember that we don't have a physical preparation, right? Nobody talks about that.
No.
Once Steve takes the camp direction, in our first meeting, we discuss about that, and from his first year, he has always a physical preparation. He was not a volleyball coach. He's just for the physical, and a lot of times they have also some psychologists. We can say psychologists that came to the camp also for make work with the different groups during the day. These two things, after maybe 10 years that I was going to the United States to do this camp, and they changed after 10 years and introduced these things, very important. So we have the physical preparation, and the kids have 1 hour or 1 hour and a half every day, because there are many different groups, with the psychologist and with the physical educator. and it was very, very nice. They have a program, and when he cannot be present, he has a program, and the athletes doing the most aged doing by themselves the program. And in Italy also, we don't have the physical specialist, but always or someone coming from the university or from the Italian Federation, for example, to do some speech with the kids, because there is between 2:30 and 3:30 every day they have speeches. Sometimes about psychology, sometimes about some professional player experience, sometimes about to find a place in American University, something like this. Different, so 1 hour per day at least.
Okay. Nice. Questions are flooding around. We were talking recently, Celso, about the Italian camp. You're going this summer. Well, this summer through hopefully at the end of COVID. You're meant to be working a camp in a different city. So tell us a little bit about how that camp works in Italy and how you got involved in that, because since Huguenot, Scottish coaches haven't really left Scotland to go and coach. So how do we get coaches to get out into these sort of camps and get these European experiences?
You mean to introduce a camp in Scotland?
No, like for coaches from Scotland to get out to camps.
Oh yeah, if they are interested, I can because you know in Huguenot there is no more volleyball camp. The UMCA don't used to do anymore. I don't know why they don't use to do anymore. The direction a little bit different. In the United States, there's a lot of university camps, but the university camps in the States, I did some, but it's not. You are not to learn too much there. They are make it just for making money, and that's it. But I didn't. I'm supposed to not talk about that, but that's the truth. Okay. Well, anyway, in Europe we can make relationships and make invitations and make. If someone is interested, as I told you, they can go there and I can introduce them. There's no problem. I am not going this year because we cannot go in Europe without make the 14 days close at home. So I can't. Maybe I will go there in August only. And also a nice experience, if you have the possibility, is making your own camp in Scotland. Sometimes we start with a weekend camp, for example, and after you are making it bigger. And if you need, we can also give you some directions, some handbooks, and you adapt for the condition you have. Yeah. And also different when you make a camp for players, for example, for your junior program. It's a different camp. Huh? It's not the same. Because you are preparing them for a team. That's a little bit different. Even if you can do, if you can use different codes or different things, but the objective will be a little bit different. And if the codes are interested, we can introduce them to go to. For this year, I think they have place for one only, but maybe next year will be a little more open. I think the guy in Italy will be very, very interested.
All right. So again, Martin just wanted to ask about the possibility of getting Scottish players out into European camps. Obviously, this year's not looking so great, but maybe next year there's an opportunity for Scottish players to go out to these camps.
Well, the camp is open for everyone. Players, right? So they can go by even players for the same club in different levels. There is no problem. There is no. It's okay, no problem. You just go in the site, the website. You make your inscription and make the arrangements. I don't know exactly the price, okay,
Yeah.
but it's all included, and that's okay, no problem for this. Just go to the site, see the website, make the subscription, the application, and that's okay, no problem.
All right. Well, we've looked.
It's
We were looking at
parents.
maybe potentially looking at trying to develop something, and I think I remember you said that you'd be happy to come along and spend some time with us in Scotland.
Well, my daughter is living in Liverpool. She's working. She works in an American company. She's living in Liverpool, so I will have the opportunity to go to visit her, and we can work for doing some exchange of experience for sure. It will be a very pleasure for me.
All right. Where are we? How are we doing on questions here? Folks? Just let me have a look, Celso. Let me have a look for the questions. Oh, Facebook's slow tonight. We're slow tonight with questions for Celso. So let's ask your opinion then on the experience that you had through these camps. How valuable was it when you were meeting new coaches in terms of building your philosophy?
Well, you mean what I can my own philosophy?
Yeah. Were you taking things on from other coaches and saying, yes, I like that, and it fitted with your philosophy, or how do you engage in that coaching process when you work with other coaches?
Well, in the camp now, I am one of the most experienced coaches, right? So sometimes I just make the some correction that I think it's important, but always talking to the coach is separate, not in front of everybody. And I try to say to him or to the coach that there's different opinions. It's okay or it's not okay. And because the philosophy for practice is very different. Okay. I start playing with Japanese philosophy at the time. By the time, it was the philosophy of the moment. So today I don't use too much what they use with me. I change completely. So it's very important you show and discuss and show your opinion, show your philosophy for the other coaches, for the other players, and they can see if it's okay for them or not. Sometimes they change, sometimes they don't change. That's it.
Okay. Now, John's asked a question, Celso. Club Polistano had a world tour in 1974. John asked, how could they afford that? And also, do you think a Brazilian team might go on tour again sometime?
Paulistano is one of the most important clubs in São Paulo. Actually, they don't have a professional team.
Oh.
Okay, actually they don't have. They have only they play the states championship, the national championship of clubs, because we have also the national championship of clubs, and they play especially the under 12, 14, the formation. Now the Paulistano has a basketball professional team, but not volleyball professional. Okay, and normally the clubs, they don't think about making world tour, because they spend a lot of money to have the teams playing here, and I don't think it will be very easy. But some master teams, okay, the players, more older players, 40 years, 50 years, sometimes they make a group, they make a team, and they go play outside the country, yes. But only for mixed competition and the tourism and the parties, not exactly for the high level volleyball.
Okay. Veronica has asked the question, is it important to invite famous players to the bring into the camps, like national team players? And have you done anything like this in camps that you've took part in?
Wow. I think, not I think, it's very important if you can invite the confirmed players to be in the camp. They can be there one day, one morning, one afternoon, one week. The most they can be there is very important, because the kids will see what they can be in the future. Okay, and the guy, one man or women player, especially if they play in the national team, it's very important to talk to the kids, to play with the kids. Sometimes, especially with the youngest kids, it's very interesting, and tell them about the experience. Okay, because the kids are normally, they see these guys on in the paper or in the TV, and they don't think they can talk to them, they can touch them, and I think this is very, very, very important.
Yeah, it's something that we had a small experience with some of our national team players. We brought them into our festival format, and it's been very, very positive. So again, with a camp, depending on the type of camp you're looking at, day camp or residential, important to try and get these role models for our kids. In terms of developing these camps, what do you think is more beneficial, the longer camps or the short, very intense camps? What do you think works best?
Well, they are different, because when you have a short camp, you have to focus much more in the volleyball skills. The relationship is is a little bit. They don't have too much time. When you have a long camp, 1 week, maybe 2 weeks, so you have much more time to make the extra quad, extra camp, extra court, okay, outside court. When you have a short camp, weekend camp, for example, you have to focus especially or only in the techniques, only in the skills, only in develop the player. You don't have time to make different things. That's why the weekend camps is much more appropriate to better level players. Okay, kids for under 10, under 12, under 14 for short camps, it's not so. It's good, but they are not going to enjoy. Okay, the kids, they enjoy practice, yes, but they enjoy make friends, talking, making fun. And if you have a short time, you don't have time to this.
Yeah. In terms of at the younger age, how do you handle 6v6? Do you go through a progression of 2v2, 3v3, 4v4, or with your camps, do you try and just get them straight in and get them playing at 6v6 level?
Well, with the young kids, I think the better way is starting with three against three, or teams of three. Okay, because if you put teams of three, they will have more opportunity to touch the ball. Even if you make a reduced court, you are not going to play in 9 by 18 meters, but you can play 75 or 70 half, 7.5 meters, and okay, so they can touch much more. especially if you make a rule that you just can serve underhand, for example, so they can make easy service, they can play a little much more. And when they can make the right technique or close to the right technique, you are making 3 in the back row and 1 setter for teams of 4, and after you go to the 6-6. Okay, I think this is the progress normally.
Yeah. We've got another questions came in from our association. Have you had any players come to camp that have gone on to become pro players, and have they came back to share their camp stories with the new generation? Have you ever had anybody that's fallen into that category?
Well, a lot of them, because if you remember in the United States, we have some assistant coaches. Most of them, they were campers, and after, when they go to the university, because in the United States there is no professional championship, it's the university championship, a lot of them playing in the university teams. Another camps in Italy, for example, we have the technical director today. He was a former camp in the 2 first years of the camp in the 90s. And now he is the director of the camp. He played professional, but now he's the director of the camp,
Nice.
technical director. Nice. And we have some players. They were in the camp, and we have 2 that plays in beach volleyball professional. They have players playing in the division 1B. I don't know if in England you call it 1B, because in Italy you have 1A and 1B division, and they play in 1B, they play in 1A sometimes. We have not a lot of them, but we have some of them.
Yeah, well, that's pretty important. We were talking about the international flavour when you're mixing with different coaches. We talked a little bit, obviously, on this call about the language barrier. How important is it to be able to learn from the different cultures of coaching, and how do you break down those barriers of language when you're working in a multicultural camp?
Well, that's what I told you. The body language is very important. That's why one of the reasons that you have to show the kids, to your players, even the players in the high level, show them the nice and good technique position for hands, for shoulders, for body, everything, because this picture is very important for them. The body language for the coach is very, very important. Sometimes you just make a sign, and the guys in the court, they understand what you wanna say, you wanna do. You can change your defense system with the body language. Okay, you make the sign and you change your defense system or your attack system. Okay, especially with your setter. The setter uses a lot. And for the kids, for the small kids, they see the coach, the teacher. They see his body all the time. They're always looking for him. So it's very important the way you show them everything.
Okay. In terms of coach education, Celso, on your CV it says that you're involved with coach education in Brazil. What does a coach education program look like for you, for a starting coach right through to somebody who's pursuing a career? What is that coaching pathway like in Brazil?
You mean the coach formation?
Well, like if when you're teaching a new coach, somebody who says, "I want to be a coach from the day one? How does your Brazilian federation, how do they train coaches to become better? What's that pathway like?
Well, in Brazil we have two different possibilities. If you are a physical education teacher, okay, and you are a volleyball coach level 1, okay, if you are a physical education teacher, even if you never have been a volleyball player, okay, but you can do it. The level 1 is you can just practice with young kids, okay. After we have the formation with courses in the national federation, they have level 1, 2, 3, and 4. So you make this special course. Normally the course is about 8 days, and you have a coach commission, national coach commission. They make the course, okay? Yep. They make in different states. Each state can do it. It's not for only, for example, I can do it level 1, another state making level 2, level 3, and the people can grow in. They are growing. And for the professional teams, you need the level 4. Yeah. Okay? But we have in the federation, the national federation, we have coach commission, instructors. It's like in the FIVB, they have the commission for instructors. Okay? And also the FIVB course, there's the same, if you have the FIVB level, you can also work with the teams, no problem.
Yeah.
In Scotland, you don't have.
So we have 4 levels in Scotland at the moment that are available at the moment. That we're working on a coach license scheme where it's an official registration. Do you have an official registration in Brazil? Yeah.
Yes.
And what's when you're a club coach, what's the sort of standing that you have within the club and the community? You know, what's the sort of stature, respect that you get when you become a coach of a club out there?
The clubs, they are not very, I mean, not the best clubs, but some clubs, they don't mind too much if you have the course or not. They mind that you are a good professor. But if you want to go to the nationals, if you want to go to the state selection, state team, in this case, you have to have the certification. You have to have the license.
Okay.
Because we have a lot of communities, you know, in the poor communities. So there you cannot, you take someone that is volunteer, sometimes he's not prepared. But in the case of my federation, when we have this project, some projects in the communities, we send our coach there to prepare the guy who is taking care of the community program, and we make like this.
Yeah. I think we're on time here, so we're cruising. Hold on. How does volleyball help the communities over there? What's it like for, you know, just on a day-to-day basis? How is volleyball out in the community in Brazil, and how does it help them?
Well, we have a lot of problems in the community about, especially trying to not develop some people going the wrong way, for example, like drugs and like this. So the most of the cities, they try to develop this community centers. Here in my town, we have a program in two different communities, and how it works. The federation gives them all the material. Okay, they have the gym, they have the installation, the club for the community, and the federation 2 times per week we get our teachers, our coaches go there from 6 to 8 at night. We make 2 different sections, 6 to 7, 7 to 8, and they have the best coaches. We take nice coaches, and from 8 to 10 we develop, we take the court for the federation. It means we practice with the state team or some adult teams, or we make some games for the championship. And the community, they make the inscriptions for the kids in the beginner schools. We have 2 of that.
Yep.
And so they can, as you spoke a little time before, sometimes we take some players. For example, I think you know Marcelo Negrão was in '92. He is from here, and sometimes he comes to the city, and we say, let's go to there. So the kids play with him, the kids practice with him. And I think this is very positive for the community and for the kids. That is for volleyball. That is also for other sports, for basket, for judo, whatever. But the federation has a special program here in our city. And there is another project that we just help. You have an idea. This year, I made a contract with Wilson. That's a traditional mark of balls and equipment. And they give us 906 balls. So we give these balls for all the public schools in our state. Okay.
Wow.
The problem is when we did that, was everything stopped, so we cannot start the program exactly. But we will do it next month.
I mean, that's an incredible amount of volleyballs.
Yeah.
And
they gave us for indoor, and they give us 100 balls for the beach.
Okay, that's quite a nice little segue into this question. When you're developing camps, do you do camps that cover both indoor and beach?
Well, normally in the area we always have an outdoor court. Always, it's very important to have the outdoor court. Okay, sometimes it's a sand court, or sometimes it's grass court, as we had in New York. It was grass.
Yeah.
And we have also some sand courts. And on one day in the afternoon, we do 2 against 2 tournament for all the camp. So all of them, they have an experience, or they have the possibility. Not for very young kids, no, but for the up to 14 years, we make it to play 2 against 2 outside, so they can have also this experience.
Brilliant. So what I want to do is, Celso, I want to ask one final question. Obviously, you guys had the Olympic Games in Rio 2016. What sort of impact did the volleyball of the Olympic Games have on the country? What was one of the words that we get banded around over in Scotland is legacy. What was the legacy out of those games for the federation, for your region? What was the experience like of the Olympic Games?
I had the opportunity to be in Rio for the last week, so I could go to the gym with the national team. We got the gold medal in the men's, and we got two gold medals in men's, beach and indoor. I think for the volleyball in Brazil, definitely is the second sport, definitely, because we have one of the most, how can I say that, prepared federation, an example for all the other federations. We have a very, very nice evaluation for the Olympic Committee, Brazilian Olympic Committee, and the Olympics could be much better as a legacy. Okay, they could let for the people a little more, but I think for the development was very, very important. Okay, very, very important, and we can see this because we see the numbers in the clubs, in the school. The number of people looking for practice volleyball is growing very much after the Olympics.
Good. I mean, that's what you're hoping from a games, that the popularity of your sport increases, and that your clubs are ready to take on new numbers. Celso, we're coming up to the last sort of 15 minutes. I'm very conscious that we've had another amazing night. When we last spoke, you were talking about potentially moving back to Italy. Is that still on the cards?
Yes. I had in my career two possibilities that I would like to try. One was coaching a university team in the States. I could be, but opportunity was not so good, so I didn't make it. Second is work in Italy. I like very, very much the Italian system. I think they are very, very, they have a very, very good organization. They have a lot of teams, a lot of clubs. They like very, very much sports in general. They like very, very much. And I received the invitation to develop not a professional team, but work as volleyball coach and technical director for the volleyball teams in a sports center in a small town close to Rome. And I think if there is no problem for the government, I will start it in September. That's why I thought I spoke to you. We will be very close, and the opportunities to develop, to make exchange, because I believe that make exchange with the other countries creates an atmosphere very, very, very important in the team. The past years I had my master team. My master team are players that played with me when they had 14, 15 years. Now they have 50, they have 52, 55. And they practice two times per week. Very hard practice with the youngest. And they play the championship because every year we used to do international travel. Okay? And, you know, everybody has jobs, has the house to take care, the husband, the dog, and everything, and they still having time to practice volleyball, to stay together with their friends, and traveling together, playing, and make new friends. I think this is. I am very. How can I say that? Very, very happy to still continues doing this.
Yeah, I mean, we met a long time ago, but those camps that we worked, we were fortunate to meet so many wonderful people, and we're still connected. We're still connected to this day, and I think it's a great environment to learn as a coach. Because one of the things that we're picking up through all these conversations, Celso, is that learning never stops. Whether you're a year one coach or a 44-year veteran like yourself, do you still find it challenging and exciting when you're learning?
Yes. Many people, many coaches we met during this long time. And sometimes, I give you an example. Steve, they just called me and he said, look, I have a problem. I said, okay, you have a problem. What is your problem? Oh, there is a girl that cannot do this or this thing in defense. I am becoming crazy. I need your help. I said, okay. I gave him some, we just exchanged some words. What I mean is, he was a setter, right? So if I have a problem with my setters, I will call you and say, Andy, oh, I have a problem with my setter for setting back row, for example. And you said, oh, back row can make this. And this kind of experience we can keep for our life.
Yeah.
Okay. Even if we don't talk every day, but one day you are going to remember, say, oh, I need this guy made something. Maybe I will talk to him. And like this, we have friends all around the world. That's true.
Yeah. Brilliant. Well, Celso, we're going for an hour and 22 minutes. We're just going to call that a wrap for this evening. Delighted that you could be on. I know it's another time delay for us, 4 hours behind, but thank you so much for coming on. We'll be delighted to catch up with you when you end up back in Italy. And for sure, what we'll do is beyond this conversation, we'll look at trying to figure out a way if we can send a coach, maybe one or two coaches, maybe even some Scottish kids to the camp.
Okay, very well. But if you want to send someone, I would like to say, if you can do this in the next week, just to start the conversation, because for the promotion for the camp is very important, you know.
Yeah. Okay.
That's very interesting, and also for the relationship. I think it's a good way for start a new relationship and exchange experience, and it's very interesting.
Yeah. Well, the other thing that I'll be keen to do also is to get you on to a Scottish court at some point. I can't have you having family in Liverpool and visiting and not coming north of the border. So we'll keep in contact when you get closer to Scottish soil. We'll have a conversation about getting you over for some clinics, and we can see what sort of exchange we can do. So. My boss is watching, and she's just put a comment on saying thank you so much. Our conversation was fantastic. So my boss Margaret Ann Fleming says hello.
Thank you very much. And once more, thank you very much for the invitation. And I'm very, very happy to be in contact with you again. And we are going to look forward for develop something together for sure.
Yes, definitely.
Thank you very much for it.
Perfect. Celso, listen, thank you. Have a great evening, and we'll talk soon. Good night, Celso. All right. Oh, brilliant. What a conversation. Obviously, I've got a pre-existing relationship with Celso, but some of the things that he's saying, fantastic. It's really great for us to hear that perspective. So, again, if you're enjoying what we're doing here, make sure you give us some feedback. And if you've got questions for these coaches, need to make sure that we get involved and ask them their opinions. Our next coaching conversation is on Thursday, and it's a coach from United States, Coach Steve Florio. He is a Division 1 college coach, and he is coming on to talk about performance planning at a collegiate level. Steve also is involved with USA sitting volleyball, which is another strand of volleyball that we're trying to develop at Scottish Volleyball. So Steve's got a really interesting background in collegiate volleyball. If you are looking about getting players to maybe explore USA for college education, then there'll be some gems in there about how to go about it. This event will be on Zoom, so it's a members only event, unfortunately. So if you want to be a member, there's information on the Scottish Volleyball website that can be available for as little as £3. The Steve Florio conversation is going to be held on Zoom because he's bound by NCAA rules and regulations around recruiting. Due to COVID, there's no active recruiting, and conversations like this can be deemed that way. So we've managed to get him on Zoom in a private call, which is what we're looking to do on Thursday night. So if you want to get on that call, if you want to hear what Steve's got to say about all things collegiate, about planning for performance within that environment, and if you're keen to find out a little bit more about sitting volleyball, then you need to go to the Azov website, Scottish Volleyball members page, and sign up for that course via that way. I'll be back with the team on Thursday to bring you Coach Steve Florio. There's only Steve and one other coach coming up in this month. That will be closed off the following week with Joel Banks. Joel Banks is a professional coach in Belgium, and he's also the head coach of Finland. So 2 more conversations coming up. I hope that you're able to join us for those. I'm very much looking forward to presenting these guys because they are excellent, excellent coaches in their own right and have an amazing wealth of knowledge and expertise. So from everybody at SVA Online, we want to say thank you for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you on our next call, which is this Thursday with Coach Steve Florio. Good night, folks.